take that
Those are funny.
that minute to research something before I shared it, but I really try to do that. So I agree with you. The less stress we cause for ourselves, that's a good thing right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that you most like to share or don't share?
I try to do a daily divaism.
Mm-hmm.
I have not been very good at it as of late because my brain just has not been there. That's one of my favorite things. And I allow that daily divaism to come when I'm meditating, something that will come into my mind. And so it's different all the time, but it's usually motivational or inspirational or just the truth.
Right.
Yeah.
And when people know what to expect from us, they don't mind if we throw in a promotion to our business or our services once in a while, especially since it's usually related to something we're sharing.
Right.
Yep. And if it's not for them, they're comfortable bypassing it as opposed to hitting the comments with negativity or slams or
like right now I'm working on it was just a year on Monday that I meditated every single day, never missed a day. And so I'm writing about that, how I'm different now from that, and hopefully that will get some people coming to our Exploring Meditation class.
Exactly. That's mindful promotion. That's mindful sharing. That goes right into that key too, understanding and having clear boundaries about what you will and you won't share. So, yep, excellent.
Good, thank you.
Good job.
Yay!
I
did something right.
You do a lot of things right.
I don't know. Sometimes I don't feel like I do.
All right, key 3. And this is the hard one for some people, but I really want to make it easier for people. And this goes into the marketing, the true marketing side of things. This is make it easy for yourself and others to promote you.
Oh.
So the easier you make it, rather than sitting back and saying, I don't know what to say about myself, I don't have a bio sheet, I don't have this or that. You get those things in place and understand they're not written in stone. They get changed over time, but you have something in place so when somebody asks for something to help promote you, you can send it right over to them without second thought, before you can start second guessing yourself, before you can go in and have to write it, and then it's 3, 5, 7, 14 days, and now it's no longer relevant to the person.
That's how long it took me. It took me 14 days to write a little bio for an introduction.
Now, I use Trello all the time, and I have, on one of my boards, I have a list, and I have my bio written in about 6 different formats. One with a CTA, a call to action for places where I can actually post that. I have one in first person. I have one in third person. I have my headshots. And I don't have many what most people would call studio shots or really professional shots, because people connect with me because they see me as more of an ordinary person, not someone they can't approach. So I don't have a green screen in my office. They see my office, so things like that. But everything's right there. And then I follow Mel Robbins' advice with her 5-second rule. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Somebody asks me for something, I go to my Trello board, I can get to it on my phone or on the computer, and I send it to them. Before I can second guess myself.
Right. That's very good. But yeah, once you start thinking, it all goes downhill.
It does. It's like, what do I say? Is this too much? But I'm really doing this over here, and you go. That's why you have to have more than one ready.
Right.
Because a lot of us, especially the people you and I meet, we have multiple interests and multiple niches with our business. And one size fits all doesn't work for us.
Exactly.
So I have some that are written with a different focus.
Exactly. For example, when I'm doing something that is a blend of men and women, I don't focus on how much I do with women, you know.
Exactly.
I don't say I only coach women. It's a women's internet radio network.
Right. I'm the same way. My clientele has always been 40, 60, 40 men, women, and it continues this today. So I'm not just strictly a women's coach for women's businesses.
Yeah, but in some circles, you would promote yourself that way.
In some circles.
Yes, that's what you're
I'm
saying.
here on W4 Divas.
That's right.
And we are focused on helping the women.
Right.
And they are a good portion of who I work with.
Right.
So yes, I'm comfortable with that.
Right.
But when I'm down with maybe Michigan Works,
right,
with a mixed crowd.
Joke's on you.
Exactly. So the other things you can have are a speaker one sheet or a portfolio one sheet. I do still do some copywriting. I don't advertise it. It's very selective. I'm at the point in my career where I can pick and choose what I want. So people either have to know that I'm available for that, or I may hear someone. So I have one of those available, and I can, again, just grab it and go. This theory, this myth that's out there that your website has to be perfect before you start marketing yourself, that your Facebook page has to be perfect, that all of these things have to be perfect before you start, is BS. And I completely blew up a couple of my websites on purpose because I'm redoing them. And my rockingyourpath.com website, which is my main website, is going through an overhaul, but the front page has looked the same for the last 6 years, but I'm still getting the business because
it's working. Yeah.
So
don't change what's not broken.
Exactly.
Or don't fix what's not broken.
Right. But I do know having these other things in place to be able to send people when I'm asked to be a guest on someone's podcast or do a presentation for a workshop, or even if I'm organizing my own, these things are in place, and they save me time.
Right.
But most of all, they save me emotional energy.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that feeling is so bad when it's draining.
Like when you wait till the last minute to do something?
No, when somebody asks you for a bio, and if you second guess it, like, oh, this bio isn't good for that, I should do this, I should do that, and you start tearing it apart instead of sending it right away, it's emotionally draining. Because then the first one was better than what you have now, when you should have just let it go, basically.
Or the timing becomes inconvenient for the person who asked for it. Now you've made it hard for them to promote you. And the whole point of Key 3 is to make it easy for yourself and others to promote you.
That's a very good point.
Yes. All right. So along that, we get into those conversations when people ask you what you do. Okay? And those can be, we can rely. I've got a really cool catchphrase now, the Purgatory Relief Coach, for people who think marketing is hell. People who understand that phrase get me immediately, but I've literally gone decades before that one came to me. So how do you express yourself, if you don't have something zippy like that right now? And I like what one of my former coaches, and someone I admire a lot, I still, I don't coordinate with her online, but I've taken her courses, and I've got her, she does the speaker one sheet. It's Felicia Slattery, and she wrote the book, Kill the Elevator Speech.
Oh, I've seen her, okay. Yes.
And what her advice is, unless you're in a situation like a BNI meeting where they have those speed rounds and you only have, 15 seconds, 10 seconds to say who you are, and that elevator speech is expected, don't start with your elevator speech. When somebody says, when you meet somebody in a networking situation, you can start with other questions. Get them engaged. Show interest in them first. So
exactly.
Like what kind of questions can you ask? You ask them, how did you get started doing what you do? What do you love most about your job? You know, what's the most exciting thing that's ever happened to you in your life or your business right now? Questions like that. Let them express, and then you can listen, really, really listen without saying, oh my God, I got to say mine next. You really get engaged with what they're saying, and then you can respond organically, sharing what you do, but match it to what they're sharing. If they're sharing something personal, you can share something you're comfortable sharing personally about yourself. And questions like this inevitably lead to them asking you, what do you do? You're in a better place to answer them now. You're going to have their attention at this point. And if there is prospects for doing business together, it will happen organically. That follow-up will make sense. And your confidence, you don't have to go searching for your confidence in those situations anymore,
because
it kind of blooms from its own seed. You've planted that seed and you've let it take over. And then afterwards, if you're like me, that eternal introvert, and like on Tuesday after everything was all over with the attempted suicide of an online friend, when things are all over and I go back home, that's when I fall apart.
Right, exactly.
That's when I can cry. It's like, oh my God, why didn't I said this and that, and I could have said that, but then it's okay because I know I did the best I could in that moment. And I didn't squander the opportunity, because you don't want to squander those opportunities if you're trying to build a business.
Right. You know, I really like what you said about separating B&I from regular networking. That is, for those of you that don't know, it's a business networking place where you go around, you introduce yourself, and you have your elevator speech ready every single time. Oftentimes, they even take turns critiquing them so that you improve on it. And years ago, that was the accepted way to network. And it makes me feel good that things are changing now. They are becoming more organic. Mm-hmm. And that saying, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, is very, very true, even more now than it was 10, 15 years ago.
Right. And a lot of that came about because we are becoming more of a service-based business. It's certainly true. I do work with some brick-and-mortar businesses. I do work with people who have products to sell, but a lot of my clientele, a lot of my prospects are offering a service. Mm-hmm. And it's harder to just state a title for yourself and have people understand what you actually do. So even my title, that Purgatory Relief Coach, that tells people what I do.
Right.
You know? So.
Yep, I like that. You helped me with mine, years and years ago, and I still use parts of that. And look how I changed it.
Right, and it wasn't something that came easy. You had all of the words. It was, if I remember correctly, it was choosing the right combination of words, then practicing it until it felt natural for you to say, that you believed every word that you said was absolutely true.
And it was so succinct because it covered everything that I did in just 3 or 4 sentences.
Yes. Yep.
So, yeah, I remember having that conversation with you. Well, I'm a coach, but I do Reiki, but blah, 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 blah. And you said, but what is it that you do? And I said, well, I help women. Well, and you said, that's the way you start. Mm-hmm. And you're passionate about it, aren't you? And I said, yeah. And you said, start with that and then say, I do it through. Exactly. And then I covered everything. So that was beautiful. Thank you.
Exactly. Yes, you have to talk about the transformation that working with you or whoever we're talking to, the transformation that you provide other people when you're a service provider.
Right.
Because people don't care how you get them there. They want to know where they're going to be at the end.
That's right. Yes. That's very good. So what made you get into this line of business? I know that you have not always been. You used to write technical manuals for...
Actually, I wrote children and young adult nonfiction and business documentation for people and some ghostwriting for executives and journalism and farming.
That's right, the farm.
I was married to a dairy farmer, and I farmed. And my 15 published books under Kathy Henderson were all done when I was on the farm. Yep.